Hi, this is Randy, and we're at part 3 of post-installation configuration of ESXi. Part 1, we took a look at user accounts and how to assign yourself permission, how to get to your server, how to watch out for the hitting enter when you give your name and password in a web browser. Part 2, we really looked at the drawings that overview where your server fits within a bigger picture of the network infrastructure here. It's important to me that you get that sense of where your server is and how it connects, and that'll be important if you need to troubleshoot it to be able to look at the path that it takes and trace route things and to ping things and whatnot. And now we're finally to where is it that you actually install a static IPv4 and IPv6, and where do you define DNS and host name and gateway and such. So let's take a look first at our IPv4 configuration. To get us kind of a frame of reference here, I've taken that spreadsheet we looked at in video number 2, and I'm currently working with server number A18, and I want to point out the values here that I'm going to be needing to use off of this chart. I'm going to be assigning for my IPv4, I'm going to be using this address right here. For my IPv6 address, I'm going to be using this one. And then here are my gateway and DNS values for IPv6, and then here is the same for IPv4. You'll notice that they're the same IP, and what it is it's actually a DNS forwarder. It's not a full DNS server, just a forwarder that accepts DNS queries and forwards them on. So we need this information. You'll need this. This is what you'll need to type in. To spare you from having to watch me type this all in, let me just go ahead and show you where you do it, and I've already typed it in. And first of all, we'll go for the IP address itself. To do that, we come over here, we start with host, we go to networking, we're looking for the VM kernel NIC, we go here to VMK0. Okay, there it is, shows us how it connects. We go to edit settings. Okay. From the drop down here, we need to choose that we're going to run with both, and take a look. So we can expand those, and you can see that I've entered values here. Now, before I did this, a change that I did make here was auto configuration was initially enabled. It was. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that if we did that, you wouldn't be able to use this address to connect to it from the internet. The server itself would be on the network, but it's kind of like having a dynamic address. IPv6 is a little bit different, and it can self-generate an address, and so it had one in there. So I had to choose no here, and I then saved that, and it came back, and at that point it just had this one. And again, this is the way IPv6 works. You can assign a full routable address, which is this one here, but the way IPv6 works is it assigns like a link local address, an FE80, that it uses to do all of its internal communications with it. Kind of like it sort of obscures the real address, and this is the nature of IPv6. So I filled in this box here. I gave it that address. I made this choice. This I just went from DHCP to static. The default was DHCP. I made this choice. The value is already there. It got a lot of this from DHCP, and as we mentioned before, it accepts that, and we're good. We're good with that. And you just I tell you though that there's likely to be a little bit of saving and trying, especially with IPv6. There's different ways that the different vendors implement it, and you'll see that on the next configuration. So that's what you'll need there. Let me go ahead and cancel that. The next thing that we want to do is we wanted to be able to set our host name, our DNS reference, and the gateway. And to do that, we go again. Over here we go over to networking. From networking, this time we go to TCPIP Stacks. This is very different from how it was done in ESXi 6.0, but it's no big deal. We come here, we click on it, and it shows us what we've currently got. And again, I've made a lot of settings, so I just want to show you where you set it. We go here to edit settings, and here's where we do all this. And part of this again was pre-filled. It got it from DHCP. Excuse me. It got It got these values from DHCP. And again, kind of a vendor specific thing is it adds the dot there. We were talking with another engineer earlier about how that he was setting up DNS on a Linux machine and he needed to add that dot also. So here VMware has just added both. I added a DNS server reference there. It scrolled off the screen, but it's in there. And so you can see now one thing that is kind of, again, it's all in how different vendors do it, is if you put the full 2620 address in here, it'll let you save it and it won't error, but it takes it back out. And I'm guessing most likely that's because it's going to use the FE80 address as actually the reference for your default gateway. I know it's a little bit weird. We're always learning. I wish I could tell you that we just knew everything about everything, but we don't. We've recently deployed IPv6. We're learning how different vendors work with IPv6, and so that's how you do it. That's where you set. We've got DNS. We've got gateway. We set the IPv4, IPv6 is self-configured. We set static addresses for 4 and 6, and we're good to go. The next thing to do, and I'm going to wrap this video up, but the next thing to do would be to test all this. It would be, and I like to test from the console. And as I mentioned in an earlier video, I want to create a video on console troubleshooting and how to set all this from the console. But we're good. So we've done our 3 videos on basic configuration. We'll come back and catch a few more things here, several more things. We still need to create some networks, set a time server reference, and a few more. But we go ahead and wrap this up.